Welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Providence Holy Cross Medical Center, IMAC Med Spa, and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Thomas Polucki.
on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And speaking of quality of life, which is extremely important, our first guest is Cardon Ellis from Unipest Control.
Hey, how's it
How are
going?
you?
Oh, I'm stoked to be here.
Great. We're good. Glad to have you because we want to hear about all of the horrible creatures
Oh, yeah.
you've done away with.
In celebration of that new Godzilla movie that came out, we'll just talk about the natural monsters that roam the fields unashamed here in Santa Clarita, attacking all those poor seniors with impunity. You know?
So did you see the Zero?
Yeah. No, I haven't
Plus
seen it yet.
one, or what is it?
Yeah,
Minus?
I think it's
what?
Godzilla -1. My buddy went and saw
minus
it.
whatever,
I was
yeah.
busy recording that day, so I couldn't. But I don't fear subtitles.
Yeah.
I watch even your country's movies. I watch English movies from Britain without subtitles too. So
I do not like subtitles.
Oh, you're not
They're
a subtitle
so
person?
distracting when you see these black and white letters down in the bottom on the left-hand side, and I'm trying to see the movie or the show and listen to it, and these stupid sentences.
But it
And
doesn't
they're
stop you
always
from
late.
watching Outlander, right? You gotta get your Jamie
Are
in.
you an Outlander girl?
What is that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, my wife was big time into that for
Yeah,
a while.
no,
I
I
was
know.
like, woohoo!
What is Outlander?
It's a show that every woman is in love with. I
It's like 50
thought you
Shades
were
of Grey
yeah.
mixed with like, I don't know,
the Twilight Zone.
Jane Austen or something, you
I've never
know?
seen How Many Shades of Grey. I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. Cool. You're not missing much.
Okay.
So I do have to say, I'm
But
stoked.
Outlander, I'm
Yeah.
missing. What is Outlander?
It's set in multiple times in England and Scotland and even America, but it's like a time travel thing. It's a softcore porn.
Look, okay. It's a romance series that made a lot of millennial and Gen X women very much. We appreciate it. You know, we appreciate it. They were just
I
happy.
don't know what you know what they're talking about.
Gentlemen, if I may, I don't believe that Outlander, 50 Shades of Grey, anything in that vein falls under something that Barbara would have interest in. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, but it was a good flick. I mean, I knew I had some customers that were in their 70s and 80s that were watching it with their like granddaughters.
I mean,
and
it was
their
on
grandkids.
TV.
Yeah, it was a Netflix special.
Yeah,
it was
something. I don't know what
But
channel.
stick to Godzilla. Godzilla's cooler.
Yeah.
I
But
don't even Godzilla.
yeah, but like the subtitles totally make it work because
I don't like subtitles.
But
I
what's
just told
worse,
you.
having a bunch of Japanese guys screaming at you, you don't understand any of the words. Although it is pretty awesome. Some of the words you do start
I
understanding.
don't watch
Right.
the movies.
Like the American companies,
I
it's
don't
pretty cool.
watch those movies.
Well, I do wonder, since we're talking about what you would have interest in watching, would you watch something like The Crown? Do you have interest in that?
no.
No?
No? Well, what are we going to watch together? Last time we talked about watching Tarantula because it was Clint Eastwood's first film about a giant spider.
I don't like spiders.
Well, but you like Clint Eastwood, right?
Oh yeah, he's okay.
Okay, wow, dude, you're a tough sell. Taking you on a dinner and a movie date must have been tough in the 60s, man. You know, that must have been rough.
Dinners and movies.
Yeah, that's a classic. It's like fish and chips, you know? Dinner
I'll
and
go
movie.
with fish and chips. But Outlander, Godzilla.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You know, that's something English cinema doesn't really dive into too much is the monster movie. You got all the Toho classics coming out of Japan. You've got The Host coming out of South Korea, The Train to Busan. American movies like King Kong. You've got, what's the big white gorilla?
Well, wait, hang on a minute.
They were all into
Mighty Joe Young.
the horror movies, though. The classic horror movies came
Yeah.
out of all those classically trained British actors that, you know, you see in Star Wars like 20 years later, but they made their name in British horror movies. Like Dark Shadows
No.
Classic.
The best one are
Wait-
bugs, though.
Wait a minute. We're here to talk about bugs.
Yeah, I've been killing bugs all week.
Pests, I know.
And
Well,
you started
that's-
ranting like a lunatic about subtitles, and
well,
we almost had to
somebody
call
else
security.
brought it up.
No.
Somebody else started it, not me.
Yeah.
Not me. We're here to talk about bugs.
Yes, let's.
Things that crawl and creep. Ugh.
Yeah, this week has been nuts. What do you want to know?
Well, what have you been doing this week?
What's been on the docket?
Oh, geez. Actually, a recent resurgence of two things that I haven't dealt with in a while. First is mosquitoes. I got a bunch of calls for mosquitoes last week. Usually this cold, don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I
But
got
also,
bit today.
You got bit today? Yeah, I'm telling you it's
By
happening.
mosquitoes?
Yep.
By mosquitoes.
I never get bitten by mosquitoes. My daughter has problems with mosquitoes.
Well, I'm
She
intimidated
says,
by
Mom,
you.
they're all
Imagine
over
the
your
mosquitoes.
backyard. And I said, what? They never touch me.
Yeah. That and kissing bugs. Have you ever been bit by a kissing bug?
I have no idea what kind of
There's a
bug that is.
really cool type of bug in North LA County in Santa Clarita called the kissing bug. And they've just recently started doing like studies on it. It carries a strange disease called Chagas or Chagas disease. I can't remember how you specifically pronounce it, but they've got a little clinic for it here over the hill. Last time I checked, I mean, I don't know if it's still there, but they're tracking it over at, what's that street on all of you, that hospital that's over there? It's
it
not
like
Providence,
Selmar,
Holy Cross,
whatever.
whatever
Yeah.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Selmar. They've got a little clinic for it there. And I've had like 2 or 3 customers send me pictures this week of what is this weird bug. It looks kind of like one of those box elder beetles, but with this long snout, and it's called a kissing bug because it can actually penetrate. It's similar to like, bed bugs or mosquitoes going after you. It's a little bit more painful. From what I understand, you can actually kind of feel it. But yeah, I've treated people in Placerita Canyon. I've treated people in Canyon Country, kissing bugs and mosquitoes this week. That was wild.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah, and then also tarantula hawks.
Tarantula
Ooh.
hogs.
No, tarantula hawks.
Crane flies?
H-A-W-K.
No. Crane flies are the mosquito eaters.
Yeah.
They're called mosquito eaters, even though they don't eat mosquitoes. They'll feed off of sugar water. They'll feed off of pollen. They're kind of super docile, nice mosquitoes. They look like giant, massive mosquitoes, and they're attracted to light. And somehow this, old wives' tale developed about them eating other mosquitoes, and they don't indeed do that. But tarantula hawks are awesome. Do you know what a tarantula hawk is?
No.
Okay, so tarantula hawk is a wasp that is the second most painful sting in the world. The Schmidt Pain Index. Have you ever heard of the Schmidt Pain Index?
No.
Okay, so the scientist that developed a gradient scale on what is most painful ended up like helping Navy SEALs train how to endure torture and all this crazy stuff, made a pain index of the most painful like bites and stings and things like that. And amongst insects, the 2 most painful stings are the following. In Paraguay, northern Argentina, southern Brazil, there's a type of ant called the bullet ant. Local Indians call it the 24-hour ant because the conquistadors, it's called the bullet ant because when the conquistadors invaded, they said, I would prefer to be shot point blank by a musket ball than to be stung by the bullet ant. And the local Indian tribes will create these gloves and they'll fill them with bullet ants and you have to put your hand in the glove. And
In
the
order to
bullet
become a
ant-
man.
In order to become a man, yeah. And you have to do this dance.
I'm glad it's my hand.
And the venom makes you hallucinate and you just go into this wild trance for 24 hours. And you have to watch. There's videos of this on YouTube. Sociologists have gone into the Paraguayan jungle and documented these people. And I am sorry. You make varsity football here and you think you're tough? Stick your hand in a glove full of bullet ants and you're a real man. So that's the number 1 most painful sting is the bullet ant or the Paraguayan
thank
24-hour
you.
ant. The second is here in Santa Clarita, and it's called the tarantula hawk. It's a beautiful insect. If this were YouTube, I'd show you a picture. But have you ever been walking, like maybe in Central Park, out in Saugus, or you ever been in Towsley Canyon, and you just see one of those big wasps fly by, and it sounds like a helicopter is like, It's worse than a dragonfly, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're huge. I thought they were the murder hornets the first time I saw one.
Sometimes-
And some of them are beautiful. They're like purple and stuff.
Okay,
and all
it's the
kinds
purple
of,
ones.
Yeah.
They're kind of like that midnight purple that cars get painted,
Yep.
where during the day it looks purple, during the night it looks black or dark midnight blue or something. Okay, that's a tarantula hawk and has those beautiful orange wings. Have you noticed the orange wings?
Yeah.
Okay, these things are hardcore. This is MI6 on steroids, all right? I'm speaking your language, right?
MI6.
No, what was it
That
called?
thing that doesn't exist. That's the spirit.
What was it called? The ordinance before they were MI6, they were like special ordinance something. They were OPC.
Buccaneers. I just called them Buccaneers.
All right,
they were
all right,
pirates, freaking pirates. So anyway, the tarantula hawk is so crazy. It has a 1/4-inch stinger, and when it flies in and it stings you, okay, it actually, like a machine gun, inserts its stinger 4 to 6 times a second. It like rat-a-tat-tat. It just hits you. And in the wild, without humans harassing it so they get stung, they're actually very docile. They want to avoid you. Unless you mess with them, they won't sting you. But there's YouTube stars who have gotten stung just to show how painful it is. But in nature, what they do is they hunt tarantulas from the sky. Tarantula hawks are called tarantula hawks because they hunt tarantulas from the sky. When they find one, they'll swoop down and they will stun it with their 1/4-inch long stinger repetitively until it is totally stunned. Then they're strong enough, they drag the carcass back into the hole that the tarantula created because they can sense the pheromones, okay? And then they inject the larvae of their young into the backbone of the tarantula so that when the larvae hatch, the eggs hatch, the larvae have a source of protein that eats the tarantula alive in its own hole before it bursts forth in order to go hunt other tarantulas. And when it stings you, according to the Schmidt Pain Index, it's the second most painful sting in the world. And Professor Schmidt, when he actually was studying it, he was accidentally stunned. And you can look up this quote on Wikipedia. He said, "Your body, upon being stung by the tarantula hawk, has no other recourse except for to perhaps scream." He literally said there's nothing you can do. It's so painful that your body can only scream.
I can
attest to
testify.
that?
I can testify. It feels like you're being electrocuted. Like it felt like I got hit in the back of the head with a hammer and I got stung in my toe. Like it shot straight up my nervous system and it felt
Really?
like someone clocked me from behind with a baseball bat.
Where did you find this? In your backyard?
Yep.
This is what the guys you said no to prom felt like, Barbara. Just worse. You know what I'm saying? It's horrible. And by the way, everything I'm telling you is 100% true. And what's cool is if you get them, they're big. They're literally, some of them are almost half as long as that mouse. Okay.
I would run like crazy.
Yeah, they're studying if they can get drunk too.
Oh.
Apparently, they're going after like dead fruit that is slightly fermented, and they've noticed that it's affected the flight patterns of some tarantula hawks. So I was reading this study that I'm probably horrendously misquoting right now, and whatever scientist gets forwarded this video is going to be screaming on his screen saying, "You got it all wrong." But anyway, apparently some doctor noticed that upon feasting upon fruits, because besides getting protein from tarantulas and things like that, some of these very large solitary wasps are called, can have kind of like a slightly omnivorous life. Just like there's carnivorous bats and there's omnivorous bats, we're finding that like in the insect world, spiders will eat crickets, but then they'll also eat decaying other food debris and so on and so forth. But upon eating fermented fruits, it adjusted their flight pattern. It kind of made their flight pattern wiggly. So they think that the alcohol content from the fermented fruit
Wow,
got the solitary wasp a little bit drunk.
Yeah,
and so
they
were
love a good
drunk flying.
Chardonnay. They go after the wine too. They love it.
So what do these wineries do?
Well, I saw. So I want to ask you about some stuff,
Okay,
some botanical countermeasures.
Cool.
First of all, one that I have seen firsthand is like unbelievably effective is cedar. You know the old wives' tale, make your chests out of cedar, put cedar in your closet, and you think,
Yeah.
What?
A cedar-lined
Yeah,
trunk.
it just,
yeah.
oh, yeah, okay, so what's that going to do except make my house smell a little bit better? You get essential oil cedar. And remember a couple shows ago, I was talking about how I got like these mutant ant infestation things?
Yeah.
Gone with the cedar. Like cedar didn't just disperse them. It eliminated. They don't come near my property anymore. Like cedar is bad. Like so.
So cedar's a very potent essential oil.
Yeah.
Okay. And first off, the reaction that any kind of pest has to cedar oil will depend on the nature of its taxonomy, on its biology, right? So, for example, cedar oil will actually work to temporarily stop a rodent infestation in some cases because it's such a potent nasal irritant. Okay, we have all kinds of different repellents that use putrescent egg whites, which is just a very
Sulfury, stinky.
yeah, that's just a very technical word for rotting egg whites. They actually let egg whites rot and accelerate the process through heat until they're so rancid and smelly that they can be mixed with a catalyst and sprayed as a repellent. So we'll get rodents away using putrescent egg whites. There will also be some citronella and some cedar oil, geranium oil, peppermint oil, and other essential oils that are used as repellents, not just for rodents, but also for insects. Now, it can also be used as an insecticide. Chitin, okay, spelled chitin, but pronounced chitin, is this thin, waxy layer that exists on all exoskeletons of all insects that preserves the moisture inside. And sometimes in the joints where that chitin is, chalky substances such as salt-based compounds, a diatomaceous earth, sometimes even very irritating essential oils can get in there and cause enough irritation or enough repellent that they'll either leave or else get killed. Accentria organic is a very popular pesticide amongst kind of the how would you call it? The green community, shall we say, that is a mixture of 3 essential oils and doesn't do a bad job. It's obviously not as good as traditional eco-friendly pesticides, but for some people that just literally want like an all-natural solution, that's a good one for spiders, a good short-term solution for ants, and so on and so forth. So yeah, cedar oil is a very potent essential oil and could be used as either a repellent or maybe in some cases even an insecticide for insects. But the only problem is that manufacturing that on a large scale enough to actually control like crops and anything other than just like maybe the comfort of your own home is an impossibility.
Yeah, no, a gallon is like like almost $200 for a gallon
exactly.
of it.
Do you use these insecticides that you're talking about?
Oh, we use them all. Yeah, I've got tons of customers that are on the traditional eco-friendly low-impact program, which is the most effective and generally kind of the most affordable, so people like that one. However, every once in a while you get, super enthusiasts that are just like, I don't want anything synthesized. I want just all natural stuff. So we use like Ecovia, Century Organic, all these different kind of essential oil compounds. I walk around oftentimes with a flip flop and I just smash the Black Widows that way. It's like, in fact, if you could let me borrow those Tory Burch flats, I'm starting to wear out my flip flop. And you got really nice shorts. What are you wearing Tory Burches for, by the way? I shouldn't be wearing
what for?
British designer Tory Burch flats.
Tory Burch,
yeah, she's
flats.
the really high-end designer that makes flats just like yours, yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I don't walk around with a flip-flop, but I have some friends' parents who do.
I can't wear flip-flops.
Oh, really?
Well, the thing that goes between your toes,
Yeah.
that hurts the insides of my toes.
Oh, really?
I can't wear them.
That's why, who's the actress that played Hermione Granger? What was her name?
Hermione.
Emma
Watson.
Emma Watson. Yeah. So Emma Watson confessed on late night television here in America that she had a crush on American boys because of their forwardness. She's used to very proper British boys, right? But the disqualifier for her was that they wore flip-flops. So apparently, you got you and Emma Watson. You know what I'm saying? You're like Emma Watson, 1987.
I can't wear flip-flops. My son wears them when he comes over, and I go floop, 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 floop. That's all you hear on the floor.
Yeah, it's like hippity
Floop,
hoppity, get off my
floop,
property with
floop,
my flippity
floop.
floppities.
Oh, hippity.
Yeah, you like that one? You've never seen those memes with Kermit the Frog holding a machine gun saying, hippity hoppity, get off my property? Like, we're not just old men here that yell at you to get off the lawn from the front porch. We come out, with an AK and
sounds
hippity
like
hoppity,
it,
get off
yeah.
my property.
Ugh. Pests.
Yeah, kissing bugs. We got bullet ants. We got tarantula hawks straight up planting their eggs inside of tarantulas. We got cedar oil oozing out of our essential oils closets, getting rid of all the ants. We covered a lot today.
Yeah.
That was
Good
pretty fun.
heavens, we
So,
did.
Cardon, Unipest contact information, please.
Oh yeah, if you ever need any help, if you've got any questions, if you want to know about pest control options, you can always call us at 661-BUG-7575. That is 661-284-7575. You are laughing. I love this. You have a beautiful smile when you laugh. We should make you laugh more often. You really like that number, didn't you?
Yes.
661-BUG-7575. Yeah, I worked hard to get that one.
That's funny. That is really funny.
Thank you, Cardon. You're listening to the Senior Hour at KHTS 98.1 AM 1220, hometownstation.com.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Thomas Polucki, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And our guest now is the one and only Adam Laraway from Focus Physical Therapy.
Hello there.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you again as well.
Yes.
So I think we were going to talk about a problem that a lot of our seniors have called peripheral neuropathy.
Yes.
And so basically, that's the medical term for it. But, basically it means you've got like either numbness or tingling in your feet.
Tingling in your
Kind of
feet.
loss in sensation.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, we see that a
And
lot.
I have to take gabapentin for it.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
And it doesn't really fix it, does it?
No, it doesn't.
No, come
That's
take-
why I'm coming to see you.
For sure.
Yes.
Well, I'm super excited because Newfit, which is the company that produces the Nuebie, they're getting ready to publish a study. I actually just heard an interview with the owner of Newfit, and they have had some pretty cool research that showed significant improvements with peripheral neuropathy, which has kind of been one of those disorders that's very difficult to treat and make any real improvements with. And so they use the Nuebie with what's called the foot bath, where we stick your foot in a bucket of water. We put the Nuebie in the water, which I know sounds kind of strange, doing electricity in water. That's not really what we're trained to do. But for the Nuebie, it's perfectly safe. And what was really cool, to be honestly amazing to me when I listened to the owner's name's Garrett talk about this new research is that in 12 sessions, they were able to show or demonstrate significant improvements in a test that's called the nerve conduction velocity, which is kind of the gold standard they use to check peripheral neuropathy or any type of nerve injury that is not conducting at the right speed. So in 12 sessions, to be able to show that we actually improve that speed of the nerve conductivity is pretty amazing, because that's generally what the problem is that, the nervous system's not getting those signals down there to the feet or the hands, and that's why people start to lose that sensation.
Well, it's interesting because I've been through cancer twice, and this is a result of the chemotherapy.
Right, for sure. Yeah, and that's a very common side effect, and I actually have a case study that I did really early on. This is about 4.5 years ago when I first started with the Nuebie. And I had a patient who had a type of cancer and had pretty significant peripheral neuropathy of both her hands and her feet. And they basically were told that you're lucky to be alive. Like, this is an unfortunate side effect of the treatment, but you're alive. And they'd had it for 8 years and had been on the pain medications, and for 8 years, pretty much 24 hours a day, and really had kind of gotten away from, living. They were very active before and weren't doing really anything. So anyways,
It's interesting because my cancer supposedly is a direct result of taking methotrexate to curb the pain in my psoriatic arthritis, which was, as you can see, my fingers are a mess. But that's supposedly where I got that cancer from.
Wow, that's kind of
Because
scary.
that's one of the possible side effects, is what they told me. And I was on that stuff 2 shots a week for 6 years. And then they stopped making it
Okay.
for about 3 months. And then that's when I started getting stomach pains, and I never had stomach pains.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was like an indigestion.
Right. Yeah.
And I never had indigestion. And of course, when I went to the doctor, they did either a CAT scan or a PET scan and said, oops, cancer.
Yeah.
And talk about a shock.
For sure. Yeah, that's scary stuff. My youngest daughter unfortunately got diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disorder about 3 years ago, and they put her on methotrexate against what I really didn't want to do. But she's off of it now. But she had a lot of stomach complaints when she would go on it. Ended up unfortunately losing her hair and all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it has been quite a 3-year trek.
But she didn't get cancer from
She did
it.
not get cancer, no.
Thank goodness.
No, and we got her off it pretty quickly because there was so many side effects and that type of stuff. But it's scary stuff, and they talked about it that it's been around for 40 years and it's
know.
relatively safe and everything. They say all the side effects, when you go off of it, go away. But yeah, it's been an
Didn't with me.
interesting whirlwind, of my own personal experience, and it sounds like yours as well.
Well, I got cancer when I was 75, and then I got it again when I was 85.
Yeah, it's scary stuff. It's scary stuff. That's kind
I
of
don't
what.
have it now, and I told my kids if I get it when I'm 95, I'll beat it again.
Yeah, there you go. That's the attitude you need. Yeah, it's scary stuff. Actually, that's kind of what sent me down this functional medicine realm. And so I have my daughter working with a functional medicine doctor, and they're almost they're down to one medication now and pretty much back into remission with all the autoimmune
Yeah.
stuff. And we're hoping in the next year to get her off of this last medication. So that was a big tangent, but yeah, I totally relate with what you said, for sure.
Wow, and so does Dr. Tom here.
Yeah, so Adam, real quick, trying to get back to the Nuebie.
Yes.
And your study on peripheral neuropathy.
Yeah.
In the functional medicine world, I'm constantly fielding questions of people who, get most of their advice from Dr. YouTube or Dr. Facebook. And all it takes is some careful wording to get a lot of misinformation out there.
For sure.
So can you compare and contrast the difference between the Nuebie and a TENS unit that somebody can get for $20 that is
Absolutely.
supposed to cure everything under the sun? And you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about,
absolutely, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
these things that you or I could purchase for $20 are being resold on social media as the cure for everything.
Right.
I mean, everything.
Well, now, that's not that red light.
No,
you're
no,
talking
no,
about.
no,
That's
no,
something
no.
different.
Yeah, no.
Because that's very effective.
It
too.
is. That is. And we can talk about it, but I want to stick with Adam
Yeah.
for today.
For sure. Yeah. So for me, like TENS units have been around forever, and like you say, they're prescribed all the time, and now you can get them just over the counter. But TENS unit, the big difference between the TENS unit and the Nuebie is the type of current. So most of, if not all of, the electric stimulation that I used prior to the Nuebie and have been around for probably 40 years are alternating current. And so what that really means is that for the electricity in the device, it's going back and forth. And what we've discovered is that's actually a stressor to the nervous system, because our nervous system works on electrical impulses. And so when you put those electrodes on the skin, it can mute the pain receptors and help with that, but it's generally temporary. It helps while it's on. It just basically kind of confuses those signals. And it may help a little bit with inflammation. It may help a little bit with swelling and that type of stuff. But again, it confuses the nervous system. The nervous system doesn't really understand why is this current going back and forth. That's not how our nervous system works. With the Nuebie, it's direct current, which is completely different. So it's one direction of flow, which is how our nervous system works. And direct current has been around forever, but there was never a good way to get it into the system. It burned the skin. It caused co-contraction, so you couldn't move the muscles. It was extremely uncomfortable. And Garrett, the owner of NewFit, spent 12 years basically modifying the waveform to make it so that it is more comfortable. Sometimes you do get a little skin redness or something like that, and it's still electricity. So if we turn it up high enough, you can get to the point where it's not comfortable. But most of the time, we utilize it in a comfortable setting. So we let the patient kind of control the intensity level that they're doing. But it's not a stressor to the nervous system because it's only going on that direction. It actually mimics the nervous system. So, when we have patients that come in and we map them, what we do is we put a pad on it, we call the ground pad, kind of away from where we're going to treat. So say you came in with, your foot pain. We would put a pad kind of on your middle or your upper back, and that's our ground pad. And then we start mapping the nervous system. So we literally take a sponge with another electrode, and we put it on your skin, and then we slide it around. So we basically kind of divided the body into upper and lower halves. So in your case, we would map that lower leg and figure out. And when we get to a spot where your brain is sending a signal that's either causing an inhibition, so maybe it's turning off a muscle, not letting it work. Maybe it's guarding, so maybe like a spasm or something like that. When we get over those spots, the intensity duplicates. And so you're like, whoa, that's a hot spot, is what we call them. And you can feel that difference. And so you give us that feedback, and we map around the body and we find those hot spots. And sometimes there's a whole bunch of them. Sometimes there's only a couple. But because it's mimicking the nervous system and works the same way that the nervous system works, we can actually identify where your brain is sending those signals.
Now, how does this relate to chiropractic? Because when you treat me, my neuropathy will stop for a little while, and then it'll come back. Not as bad as it did before.
Right.
So if I'm going to be seeing both of you, you're doing something very similar.
Well, that's it. There's a lot of okay. So healing takes many paths, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's in the doctor's black bag as long as it's helping. There are similarities. There's overlap in a lot of things that help people get better. Some of them are nutritional, some of them are physical, some of them are electric, and some of them are even magnetic. And there is even overlap between all of those things because the central nerve system is all of those things. It is physical, it is chemical, it is electrical. And any avenue to get that reset, because I believe that health is the natural state, and there's just so many things that are stressing that system constantly that thank God we never know about. We never know about all the success stories that are constantly going on in every single cell of the body until something goes horribly wrong. And then we're aware of it, and then we're cursing the whole system. But it's not really like that. It's a miracle that we're not all breaking down all the time. And that.
Yeah, that's well, I can understand that.
So
yes.
When Adam's talking about the Nuebie and the way that the nerve system is reset, or is that
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
That is the same idea behind what I'm doing, behind what an acupuncturist is doing, behind what a good nutritionist is doing. We just have different ways of getting there. Even like self-help people who think all of this can be achieved by just the right thought processes or the right breathing exercises or something like yoga. I don't think anybody's right or wrong. It's just we all have a different bag of tricks, and I think that whatever is working that isn't causing more problems like you have experienced with, well, you've got this, so we're going to treat this. Now you have this, this, and this, and you've experienced that for a while now. I think anybody that is working to maybe reset the system without, causing some new trouble, they're my ally. And it's not my competition. It's we're all on the same team trying to get it together. And I'd love to see what the Nuebie can do for you. We've seen what other things can do for you. We know what caused yours. There's no doubt about it, what caused it. And we've had some success. And I'm all about shifting gears. If you're going uphill and all of a sudden you're not going uphill anymore, you're starting to slide downhill, you got to find a new gear. You got to try something.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, something different. And it doesn't mean that, oh, well, what you did didn't work. No, it worked. It worked great. But now you need to find a new gear. And maybe the Nuebie's the answer. I hope so.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah. And it's good. You need to work in conjunction, because we're all, like Dr. Polucki said, we're all trying to get your body into kind of homeostasis, kind of get in a balance of all of those systems.
Yeah, and age doesn't help, does it?
Well,
it's normal. The body starts to break down as you get older.
Yeah, it is a challenge as we get older. The ends of our DNA sequence, the telomeres start retracting, and it's harder to make the adaptations to deal with the constant stress. Like I said, it is a miracle that we're not breaking down all the time. As we get older, or even on a genetic level, we start getting tired of keeping up with all those stresses. That's just a fact of life. But you beat cancer twice already. And you can make choices to have a much better ride. And that's what Adam and I are here for.
That's right.
You're listening to the Senior Hour, KHTS 98.1 AM 1220, hometownstation.com.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Thomas Polucki, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're speaking with Adam Laraway of Focus Physical Therapy. And we've been talking about all kinds of things, but one of the things that I think is very important is frame of mind.
For sure.
Having a positive attitude.
Absolutely.
And that, in my opinion, can help heal a lot
Absolutely.
of problems that people have.
Absolutely.
And I'm very fortunate. I've always been an up person, a positive thinking person, which has helped me tremendously in the various illnesses I've had, main two being cancer.
Yeah.
I very seldom have ever had a cold. Very seldom have ever had the flu. I just don't do it.
There's research that shows that with a negative attitude, it actually brings your immune system down. So that positivity is so crucial, and that good mindset is really crucial for any aspect. Just for.
Well, just for living.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Staying alive.
That's kind of funny. It makes me think I had a lady that I had worked with, I don't know, probably off and on over 15 years when I was up in the Antelope Valley for probably 4 or 5 different issues. And, so I'd see her every couple of years. And I remember, I'd go to get her to bring her back to the gym to start working with her. And I'd always ask, how you doing today, whatever. And then she would reciprocate. And I would always say, wonderful. And she stopped me one time and she's like, Adam, she's like, I've known you for 15 years. She's like, every time you take me back, you tell me you're wonderful. She's like, how can that be? And, it kind of struck me because I kind of I guess it's just what I do. But, for me, people are coming to me in pain. And so, my job is to fix that pain. But, that's kind of one of the philosophies in our clinic over at Focus is that we have a positive atmosphere over there, and so, if you come in and I ask you how you're doing, and then you ask me and I say, oh God, I'm just really struggling today. I don't even want to be here, whatever. That's not going to instill some confidence in you that, hey, I'm here to help you, because so much of our medical profession, people are go, 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 go all the time. And you don't give them the time of day to even listen to what their problems are. And that's what we really do at Focus is that we focus on the problem. We focus on the patient. That's why I named it Focus, because
Focus.
I left my old clinic because it was no longer focused on the patient. It was focused about getting them in, getting them out. And I couldn't do that anymore. But it goes, back to kind of that positivity, like we're in there and we're talking with the patients constantly as we're going through the exercises, and we're finding out how their day is going and what their things are,
Right.
so that we kind of are being a detective, so we can help them have that positive attitude. Hey, look what you can do now that you couldn't do when you came in here.
Right.
And that really helps with the recovery process, because, if you come in and you're a bump on a log and you're obviously down and whatever, me trying to stimulate that healing process can be a challenge, because your body's releasing bad hormones, cortisol and stuff like that, adrenaline, because of that negative attitude. And so we got to turn that around. And I get that feedback a lot from patients that, Adam, this place is different. The atmosphere in here is amazing, because everybody's chit-chatting, interacting with everybody. And, it's not like you're just in your cubicle doing something, you're interacting with the other patients as well. And everybody
Right.
feels that.
Right. Well, even going into Tom's office, I can't think of her name right now.
Elena?
Elena. She's always, hi,
No,
very positive.
for sure.
And when Tony's in there, she's the same way. She'll come up and give me a hug. And I've seen her do that with many customers coming in there.
Yeah.
And it's a positive office.
Thank
sure.
you. And so is
is.
Focus Physical Therapy.
Well,
Adam,
I'll
give us
find
your
out, won't
give
I?
us your contact information.
So we are at 25050 Peachland Avenue, Suite 205. And our phone number is 661-255-4205. And our website is www.focusptscv.com.
Thank you, Adam. You've been listening to the Senior Hour. We're sponsored by Providence Holy Cross and Comfort Keepers. It's KHTS 98.1 AM 1220, hometownstation.com.